Bet. Yo, peace kings and queens. This is the Conscious Root speaking to you all from a woke perspective. You're tuning in to the Real Feel Show right now on RIP Radio. Man, we do this each and every single Monday at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you tune in. Yo, if you're tuning in for the first time, peace to you, kings or queens. We definitely want you to continue to follow us. Yo, if you're watching us right now live at ripradionetworks.com and you need to leave for any chance, make sure you download the app at your app store, Rip Radio Networks. You can take us with you wherever you go. If you are listening live on the app and you want to watch us live in studio, go to www.ripradionetworks.com and you can watch us live right here in studio. Yo, we got a dope show for you all today, man. We got a special guest in the building, Justin Hunter. Yo, what's up, bro?
Hello. I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Glad to have you here, man.
Good. I'm happy to be here. Bro, you have a wonderful radio voice, man. I'm listening to you on the headphones, and it's like, man, a nice bottom end and top. Good. Very good. Yeah,
true.
Man. Yeah.
I never knew, man. I was never told. You the first person to tell me that.
Well, you're welcome.
Oh, man, my head's like getting so big. I'm about to get carried away with it. But, yo, man, we got a dope show for you all today, man. So stay tuned. Yo, tell your family, tell your friends.
Tell everybody.
Tell everybody, man. If y'all notice, we do not have the Real Feel in the studio with us at this particular time. He will be back next Monday. He will be joining us on the phone line shortly. He's still in Romeoville, wherever that is. Yeah. It's Romeoville. That's where he said he is.
Now I have to come back when both of you guys are here. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Double trouble, I guess.
Yeah, man. We definitely want to have you back. So we'll allow you to introduce yourself. You know, let the people know what's really going on, what you're going to be talking about, because we spoke about the issues surrounded around social media and how it can adversely affect us.
Yes.
And we definitely want to fill the people in on that.
No problem.
But before we get into introducing you, I definitely want to just give the people a conscious tip today what's going on, because as you know, I am the Conscious Root. So I do want to leave you all with something at the beginning of the show. Over the weekend, I had the opportunity to just conversate with a lot of. We have a phone call. Okay. Hey, this is the Conscious Root. Who's calling in, and where you calling from?
Who you think, man?
I'm sorry, I'm not able to screen my call, so please bear with me. Who is this?
Yo, Daddy.
Oh man, we can't recognize your voice.
Yeah, can we end that call? Can we? Yo, everybody, we got the Real Phil on the line. Yo, what's up, Phil?
How you doing, man?
What's going on, y'all?
Yo, man, chilling, man.
We're feeling good, man.
You said,
I'm out here in Romeoville, like you said.
Yeah, man. I've never heard of that place before. I hope you're safe out there, man.
Yeah, whatever, dude. I'm good out here, man.
Cool.
I'll be back tomorrow, so y'all gonna see me back in studio next Monday.
Yeah, man. Safe travels on your return here, man.
Yeah, man. So Justin, glad to have you in studio, bro.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Cool.
My man, and shout out to Trump.
Wait, which one? Because you tripping.
Not the president. I would have said that.
Yeah, so
yeah, man. So y'all go ahead, take it away, man.
Yeah. So for those of you all, I don't want you to get the wrong idea about what the Real Phil just said. He said, shout out to Trump. He's talking about the producer, y'all. Not.
And he's not changing his name.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man. So getting back to what we were talking about, the conscious tip, basically uplifting you all as a community. What I spoke to several individuals this weekend who are doing things in the community, whether they're artists, they're poets, they're singers, whatever that's going on. And a lot of individuals that I spoke to are working to achieve the same goal. Now, you don't have to be an artist. You could just be an entrepreneur or someone that wants to make a difference within your community. And what I challenge you all to do is partner with other individuals within your community that are working to achieve the same goal that you are. It's no point in working by ourselves all the time. Sometimes you need to partner with other individuals to help you further achieve that goal or reach that goal faster. You know, they say you go places, you stay there longer if you go there with someone else. You get there quickly if you go by yourself. And so I just challenge you all to just create partnerships within your community, work with other individuals who have that same goal in mind to achieve the same purpose, and let's get it done.
Yeah, two heads are better than one, right?
Yeah, man, definitely. So I'll allow you to introduce yourself now. Go ahead and let the people know who you are, what's going on, what you're going to talk about.
I'm on the spot. All right. So my name is Justin Hunter. Some of my credentials, I guess, I'm an electrical engineer. That is my bachelor's. I'm working on my master's for computer engineering. I am a sound engineer on the side. And I do a lot of this research in marketing and I guess these advertising schemes and such on the side as well. And it's just one of those things where as a guy, you have to have many things you like to do, right? And I really like to dabble in all of these things. One, because I'm seeing that it helps me get very well-rounded. And two, I do see the fruit of the labor, right? So with the electrical, I can tear apart anything and put it back together. Not anything. The iPhone and the Samsungs are too tedious. I can't fix those that easily if the circuit board breaks. But if a TV breaks, call me. I can fix that. No, but yeah, I just like to dabble and of course try to gain as much knowledge on stuff. And you know, I've just been finding essentially a lot of information that made me stop and say, man, that sucks, right? And that's why I reached out to Phil and yourself, and I was like, hey guys, how, could I just come on and speak about the fact that technology is actually making us stupid, right? And once again, it's from the point of me seeing everything that's happening with aspects of my degrees, and as well as looking into this marketing schemes that people are putting on for us as consumers to essentially fall into a trap and enlist us into a lifetime of slavery, mental slavery, let's just say that, right? And the only way we can get out of it is if we stop and think, right? And that's what I want to talk about today.
Yeah, man. It's very important that we stop and think. A lot of times we just do things in the moment, and don't really look at the long-term effects of what is actually giving us enjoyment at that particular moment has, down the line.
Yes.
And so definitely want to talk more about that because I'm very interested as well. You said social media is making us stupid.
Technology is making, and social media is a part of technology, right? Because we're basically using the social media on a technological platform like our phones or computers, and that is basically the catalyst of us becoming who we are as children growing into adults or adults growing into I guess elderly or something, whatever. So we essentially are we starting? Just go ahead, keep going into it.
I mean, we have some news that we're going to talk about, some politics, so I'll stop you in a minute.
So just keep going right now. So, like us every day picking up our phones, everybody's developing a pattern, right? We are day in, day out picking up the cell phone and doing something with it, right? Now, I'm not saying everybody's like this, but I am mostly worried about, the generation after me. And the fact that the patterns that we're developing is kind of detrimental to the mental growth, right? Because with our phones, we're not challenging ourselves, really. We are telling ourselves that there is something out there that could get us an answer right away, right? And the problem, which we've talked about, is back in the day, before year 2000, like people couldn't just get information like that. Right? People couldn't just hop on Google and and do a Google search and be like, ooh, I'm an expert on, you know, how to mow a lawn now, right? No, people can't necessarily do this. Some people had to go to a library or just seek a lot of, you know, questions from other experienced individuals and attain their information that way. But the difference between back then and now is that information was able to stick in somebody's mind, right? Because you needed to know your expertise in order to get money back then, right? But now it's a matter of, hey, man, you know, I need you to do this for me. And then you say, hey, let me Google it real quick, and then I can do it for you, right? Back then it wasn't like that. People knew what they knew, and people were able to execute efficiently. So it's I don't know. It's one of those things where we're just losing the skill of memory. And memory is essential to everyday life, man. Like you
losing the skill of memory. That's big.
I guess big. Yeah, it is pretty big, and especially for somebody going through college and stuff. It's like if I solely depend on going through, you know, Google and using YouTube as my basis of learning, right? Yes, it's possible to pass a class, but it's not possible to, you know, grow my career. In my thinking right now, and based off of the research I'm doing and my personal aspect of learning, I don't see how that really helps me in the long run if I solely depend on the Googling stuff or the YouTubing stuff.
True.
So
I think this show is going to be very good for Alan because he's kind of losing his memory. So he needs some guidance, bro.
Get some guidance on the memory.
You know, what do you call it? What do they call that individual who's always just a clown?
Oh man,
you know what I mean? Like just
the clown.
Like, I mean, a dance or something where we need a drum roll or something, you know, because this guy just keeps coming with the jokes.
You describing yourself.
Yeah, but yeah. So for all of you listening, for all of you tuning in, and you want to get involved in this conversation, you can give us a call at 301-288-3100. Once again, it's 301-288-3100. We definitely want to hear what you think about this topic. I see we got John Hoflina who is commenting. We'll get back to his statement later on in this show. So we got some controversy over here, but. I just wanted to jump into the news real quick, you know, just to give the people an update on what's going on in the society, politically and socially. You know, that's what we do on the Real Feel Show. We keep it real on the Real Feel Show. Once again, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday right here on RIP Radio. So first thing on the news, I want to talk about something which is overlooked a lot, something that we don't really give too much attention to, and that's our women within our community. Most of you have seen the trending hashtag on Twitter, Me Too. And what this basically is, it's a call out from women that are basically saying that they have been, they have experienced some form of sexual assault. And this stemmed from the Harry Winston breaking the news that has been published around his assault of women in the past, and women are starting to come out about everything that he's done negatively to adversely affect these women, and how it's just, I'm just getting so tired of this. You know, it's constantly coming up, but it's something that we need to talk about because it happens so often under the radar, and I feel like we don't bring enough attention to that.
Why don't we ever talk about how men get sexually harassed all the time?
Bro, seriously? what man? I know it happens, but in comparison to women?
No, we're not comparing it. I'm just saying.
It sounds like you're trying to divert from what we're talking about.
Well, one is more frowned upon than the other, I guess.
See, that's why we need a woman on the show, you know, to kind of speak for them, because we got these guys making a joke about it.
Too much testosterone.
Too much testosterone.
I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, we need to talk about guys being sexually harassed because that's a very prevalent issue in today's society.
have you ever come in contact with any men or yourself? Have you been sexually harassed by other men or?
No,
women?
but you had told me about Harry Weinstein, right? That
yeah, just now I told you about.
You had some dealing with him.
Oh,
This
right?
guy.
Oh man.
This guy right here.
That ain't happened.
I really don't know what you're talking about, bro. I really don't know. You always say you the real. You say you the real Phil, but I don't see you being too real. I think we should change that, bro. The false Phil.
I mean, we're talking about real issues right now.
We're talking about fake news right now.
You,
You're fake. You are fake news, bro. You're fake.
Did you or did you not have a sexual relation with Mr. Weinstein?
Bro, you wild right now. Can we end this call? Can we end this call? All right, thank you. So the real Phil is gone.
All right, I'm gonna stop.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna stop.
Yeah. So, but going back to the issue at hand, so many women are adversely affected. Are this rape culture that continuously seems to pop up, but it's overlooked so often, and so it just all comes out at once. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we need to bring more attention to this. I'm an advocate for the women out there, specifically because there are women in my life that I really hold close and dear to me. So this is something that, I mean, we could have daughters one day, you know.
That is true.
You know, so this
true.
is something that needs to be addressed.
Now,
we talked about.
One of the things I'm personally proud of is that the culture is changing, right? The fact that nobody's really staying quiet anymore. People are seeing the opportunity to speak, and now they're saying something, mm-hmm. right? And yes, even though one strong person had to start the trend or whatever, maybe more people might see that as something positive, because as Weinstein did say in was it a tweet that he put out or his apology saying that, you know, back then it was a different culture and he needs to adjust now to the modern culture. It was a different culture. Like, you can't bash that particular comment because it might be true that it might have been different, that, you know, guys were so dominant that the women had to stay quiet. But now it's not like that, you know.
And social media is something that can be used to definitely give a voice to that.
That is true. It's very easy. You can just pick up your phone and boom.
And tweet.
And
me
tweet.
Too.
What is it?
Hashtag.
Is it more than 140 characters now on that thing?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
I think it's 140.
Okay, fine. Yeah, easy to tweet.
But if any women out there that have dealt with sexual harassment or sexual assault, or know another woman that has dealt with that same issue, we'd like to hear from you too. So make sure you guys call in.
Yeah, definitely. The number is 301-288-3100. If you have any advice for the women, this is something that we will talk about more on the Real Phil Show in the future. We're definitely going to shed light on this issue that's very prevalent within our society. Other news, we have the president, not this Trump, but we have the president, Donald Trump, who recently signed an executive order that cut funding, cut subsidies to Obamacare. And so I wanted to talk about this because we are live everywhere, and this is not something that is just taking place here in the DMV area. This is something that is mainstream everywhere. A lot of people are adversely affected by Obamacare. A lot of people are adversely affected by what Trump just did in terms of cutting the funding, cutting these subsidies that fund Obamacare. And so let me give you just a brief understanding of what recently happened with this executive order. And so we know that Obamacare has been under the radar twice. The Republicans, the GOP, have attempted to repeal and replace Obamacare twice and have failed both times. And so what has Trump recently done? He has signed an executive order to end key subsidies that provide funding to insurance companies within these particular states within the United States. And so by doing this, he is dismantling Obamacare from the inside out. We actually have a clip here, which we're going to play for you shortly, which will give you, you'll hear from his own mouth what he plans to do and why he has done it. And we're going to play that for you right now.
This is why in a few moments I will sign an executive order taking the first steps to providing millions of Americans with Obamacare relief. It directs the Department of Health and Human Services, the Treasury, and the Department of Labor to take action to increase competition, increase choice, and increase access to lower-priced, high-quality healthcare options. For a long period of time since I started running and since I became President of the United States, I just keep hearing repeal, replace, repeal, replace. Well, we're starting that process, and we're starting it in a very positive manner.
Okay. So Donald Trump said that he's starting this in a positive manner. And so let's go back to the people that are going to be adversely affected by these subsidies that he's cut and see if it really is positive in terms of who is being affected by it. Now, there are two types of subsidies. There's one that's provides assistance on premiums. Now, this assistance is provided to individuals that have a medium income. Let's say a couple, a medium income of $64,000. They receive assistance on premiums that are under Obamacare. And then there is another subsidy that provides an additional benefit, which is cost sharing as well as assistance on premiums. And those individuals have to make within about $40,000. So it adversely affects the middle class to lower class individuals in terms of income that they receive. And this cuts the funding to those individuals who would be receiving this. It cuts the funding and to Obamacare, and as a result, it leaves these individuals with the choice to pay these higher premiums. And so we see that by ending Obamacare, Trump is literally at this point saying, I'm going to end it whether it hurts anyone or not, you know. And so we have to look at it. He's saying that this is a positive move. He can't repeal and replace it, so dismantle it from the inside out, and adversely affects others in the process. And we see that it's not really positive. And so why is it so important? Because you may not be the one who is receiving, who has to pay this high premium. It may be someone else, but still, as Americans, we have to look out for each other. And there might be someone else who is sick, who can't afford to pay these high premiums, and it's adversely affecting them. And so what can you do? You can call your senators, you can write your senators, you can email your senators, you can fax your senators, and ask them to continue to push Obamacare, because we know it's not perfect. We know it's not perfect, but it can get better. And by gutting the system doesn't make it any better.
Yeah, it's not helping.
Pushing and back. Also, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you guys off.
No, go ahead.
But the good thing about this executive order, if there was a good thing about it, is that it can actually be basically peeled back or repealed by the courts, by the Supreme Court.
True.
Now, the likelihood of that actually happening, I'm not sure what those numbers are looking like, because they have a majority conservative I think about 4 or 5 of the justices are actually conservative. So that means that they probably agree with most of what Republicans say. Now, with that being said, the likelihood of this executive order being put down or ruled unconstitutional I think it's unlikely, just because of the majority conservative justices in the Supreme Court. But if they get if our representatives get a lot of flack by us, from the citizens, as to us voicing our opinions and saying that we don't like it, then it might put pressure on the justices to actually rule it unconstitutional.
Yes.
So that's a plus. That's a plus to this whole situation. The fact that he went and did an executive order shows that he's trying to shove whatever he thinks is best for us down our throats. Now you can probably say the same thing about Obama when he was in office, and he had a lot of executive orders, but you also have to look at it in time. What was happening at that time? Obama didn't have the support of Congress, so anything that he tried to do the right way through Congress was stale-warded. But now Trump has a majority in Congress, majority Republicans, so he can push whatever he wants through there. So I don't know why he went the executive order route
when he has so much support.
Well,
not support on repealing Obamacare.
He doesn't have the support because most people don't like him.
True.
Most people in Congress don't like him, so he doesn't have their support there, which says a lot. So I changed that. I do know why he went the executive order route. He can't do anything on the books, basically. He can't do it by the book, I should say.
I mean,
it's got to be
they've had two attempts.
Order.
They had two attempts they used two attempts to try to repeal and replace, and it didn't work. And at this point, he's taking matters into his own hands by weakening Obamacare so much so that it's no other choice but to repeal and replace it.
Yeah.
And it seems like he just has this vendetta against Obama's legacy.
Yeah, everything Obama's
like,
true.
And it's like no other president has actually done that. They've said about their predecessor, yes, I didn't like what he did, but let's make it better. Now it's a matter of, I didn't like it, it's not good for America, and I'm going to change every single thing that you've done while you were president. And that's where I think we're failing as America.
Yeah.
You're right, man. You're right. But it goes back to show how much power the people have at this point. Because you said that being an executive order, the people still have a chance to overturn this. You know, it still can be. Call your senators. This is the time where you have the power in your hands to make a difference with your voice. You know, and sometimes we undermine our own voices, the power of the people. You know, collectively. So pick up the phone.
Or we're just too busy with social media, man.
True, which we'll get into shortly.
Yeah, you got to add that tech aspect to it, right? We're all looking to social media to solve our problems when it's not doing anything.
True. Yeah, and so I wanted to be specific on what this subsidy cuts actually affect. Deductibles, co-payments, and out-of-pocket charges. And so these are some of the most imperative things in terms of payments that we sometimes can't afford.
Yeah, that right there sucks.
Yeah, like that's the worst part when you're leaving the office and you're walking back up to that desk in the hospital or wherever you may be, and you know that they're gonna hit you with that out-of-pocket charge, that out-of-pocket expense, or when you're coming into the doctor's office and they're hitting you with a co-payment, and you shouldn't have to question whether or not you can afford health in America. You shouldn't have to question. Health coverage shouldn't be a privilege. Everyone in America should be able to obtain it if they need it. You have people that are sick and just can't afford it. And once again, Obamacare is not the best thing. At this point, there are people that I know that have been on this show who've stated that Obamacare is negatively affecting their pockets. And so we know that it's not a solve everything policy.
Yeah, for everybody.
So, but to gut it out and make it worse for everyone, I don't think it positively affects everyone.
You know, the healthcare system in America has always been something that is at the forefront of conversation, and especially come election time.
Yeah.
And most presidents try to do something about it. And the first major steps taken toward making healthcare affordable and accessible was done during President Obama's administration.
Yeah.
So now this big pushback against Obamacare, as they call it,
Please educate the people on what it's really called.
What was that?
Like, a lot of people are so confused, even to this day, of that the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare is the exact same thing. So I hate to burst your bubble.
Right.
I know, like, some people are really advocating for the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, man.
It is the same thing.
But
it's a very necessary thing to have, healthcare in this country, anywhere you are. And being the country that we are, it should be something that everybody can access, and it should also be something that everyone can afford.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a political ideology that I have, and many share, but many don't.
Yeah.
And now we have to have a serious conversation as to whether we feel that other human beings should be on the street dying because they can't afford medical assistance.
Yeah.
Or should you have to suffer from a pre-existing because you can't afford it?
Yeah, that's another big question.
Those are serious questions that we have to ask ourselves as Americans.
Mm-hmm.
In an ideal world, in my little utopia, and I'm sure many would agree, we would have. That was a nice joke. we would have affordable and accessible health care for everybody.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple. It's just something that is fundamental for life. We're human beings. We're going to get sick, some sicker than others. But it makes a great country when we're all healthy. And I know that's unrealistic that we'll all be healthy. But at least we should all have the ability to afford and get to a hospital and get treated for whatever it is.
You're right, man.
Now, if you don't think that way, then why are you here in America? Why not think that way? Is my question.
Yeah, man, it's a good
Why
question.
not want your brother or sister to be okay, to be treated?
Mm-hmm. They don't consider them as a brother or sister. That's probably the root of the issue. And it's a good question that has gone unanswered, but a question that we definitely need to ask.
Mm-hmm.
But next on the news, has anyone heard about Colin Kaepernick and that he's recently filed a grievance against the NFL?
I didn't hear that one.
Yep, in which he claims team owners colluded to keep him from being signed.
Dun, dun, dun.
And so I didn't see this coming. I really thought that I'm not one of the ones that wanted him to go back to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of the individuals that advocates for the players to start their own league, something that's more diverse, I guess you could say. When we realize that the NFL is not as diverse as we think it is, 70% of the athletes are African American, but less than 7% in the corporate office in terms of owners are African American or people of any color at this point. So we have to question whether or not this is the best option. You know, does money trump the preservation of life?
Yes.
It does?
I mean, to society and to anybody who is making that type of money, of course. I mean, these guys don't want to lose anything, man. Everybody, all these owners want to make more.
World.
Huh?
I can understand the owners, but the players.
Yeah, they want more.
I don't know. I feel like I can speak from their perspective, even though I'm not making that type of money yet. Yeah. But man, when your own brother and sister are being shot down in the street, you have to question whether or not you're willing to make a sacrifice for them.
But here's a problem now, right? Is that if we're going to dive into that type of topic, it's a matter of whether they have been living humble in their lives versus
True.
living way past their means, right? and people who live way past their means, get the big houses, get the nice cars, it tends to be kind of tight in the pocket regardless of how much money you're making a year, right? So it's like, hey, if I need to upkeep my living, who cares about anybody else?
True. Yeah, you're right. But I just want to.
Yeah, and it's a human thing, right? We see certain things happening to people, and if it doesn't necessarily affect us, then it really doesn't matter.
Now that shouldn't be the way that people think. I agree.
It shouldn't.
It
shouldn't.
It should not be, but unfortunately, and sometimes this stuff is just not in people's minds. Like it's not, if it's not in front of you, out of sight, out of mind, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're right. You're right. But yeah, so that's it for the news. Let's jump into the topic of discussion today.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. We kind of touched on it earlier in the beginning of the show. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Real Feel Show on RIP Radio. If you have any questions, you want to call in, or if you want to make a comment, it's 301-288-3100, 301-288-3100. And I'm going to give it away to Justin and let him express to you all his beliefs on technology and how it can adversely affect us.
Yeah. So as I said before,
Hey, Justin.
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, not to cut you off, but I just really wanted to say real quick how good it is to have you on the show, on the Real Feel Show, and you're always a welcome guest. And we should definitely, I think we should take a break real quick, and then give Justin a little time to get his thoughts together.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
And
I was about to
and
be
then go right
on the fly.
Yeah, and then go right into the topic. But hey, man, it's really, really good to have you on the show, and we definitely have to have you in again. I'm sorry I couldn't even make it into the studio this time, but definitely we'll do it again.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Good. Yeah, man. So let's go on a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Cool.
Eclectic Productions. So smooth. This is Eclectic Productions.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is The Conscious Root. You're listening to The Real Feel Show on Ripped Radio. We do this each and every single Monday at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are live right now. If you want to take us with you wherever you're going, you can go to your app store and you can download the Rip Radio Networks app and you can listen to us wherever you go. If you want to watch us live in studio, you can go to www.ripradionetworks.com and you can watch us live in studio. But we will continue on with the conversation and the topic of discussion today. We are talking about technology and the mix with social media and whether or not it's making us stupid. And so we've got Justin Hunter here in the office, in the studio, who will definitely be heading this conversation out, man.
All right. So one of the first things I wanted to bring to your attention, man. So do you believe that consumerism is stopping us from being a community due to us always seeking personal pleasure?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely do. Go, Phil, you had something to say?
No. I was just answering. Yeah.
Yeah. So, every single time I hop on the phone, right? Everybody, and even myself, I feel like I'm being bombarded with ads, being torn to whether I want to buy, this toy for this month or that toy in the next month or by week or whatever. And we often see a time spending a lot more time on our cell phones or even on computers, right? And it's really good to indulge in some of it sometimes, especially the social media, especially after a long days of work. It's like, oh man, I don't want to do nothing else. Let me just hop on the phone or hop on whatever and just sit down and chill. But one of the things that I'm finding, and not just in myself, but let's just say I've been trying to mentor a lot of younger guys, and not too many gals, but younger guys, and I've been finding that we're not trying to further our understanding and essentially getting a better grasp of what life is, right? We're not trying to take ourselves out of this consumerist world and essentially take ourselves out and look at it and just see what it is, right? What is it? A plot for people to get money.
Yeah.
Get money from you and me, right? And now, am I bashing people getting money? No, I'm not bashing people getting money, right?
It's a capitalistic society.
Yes. But at the same token, there are certain people who can't necessarily fight the mindset of, let me just say no to this ad, or let me say no to this product and focus on my mental growth or my spiritual growth or my physical growth or whatever, right? There's some people who literally just indulge all the time. And
I know people that completely cut themselves off from social media, like they just, completely fast from it.
yeah,
for lack
you
of a
have
term.
to, bro. Like, and I truly feel like your mind just feels like it's going dull, and you have to make that decision on what is causing this. Oh, snap! It's my cell phone, or it's a computer.
So let's go back to the topic that John asked. He said, he said that social media or technology isn't making us stupid, but making us lazy.
Yeah, I agree with the fact that it is making us lazy, but I also want to use the word stupid still, due to the fact of if you don't have any common sense in how you're surfing the web, then you are going to fall in every single pit that is in front of you, right?
And explain some of those pits. Like, what would those be?
Man, so let's look at my notes here, man.
Because I know one thing that we were talking about was politics, and how politics can be swayed through technology and social media, and how we as consumers, as we as consumers can fall prey to whoever is funneling money into, whether it be the conservatives or liberals, we get a one-track mind if that's all we see.
Yeah. So some of the pits, and we pin that thought
Yeah, I got
on
you,
the
I got
politics,
you, I
right?
got you.
But one of the major pits is the fact that there's no privacy anymore, right? Yes, we all might think that signing up for Facebook and saying, hey, hit agree to continue your subscription to Facebook on the privacy thing, you have to hit agree and submit, and
We do that
all of that.
blindly.
You just do that blindly, right? But unfortunately, and not to say Facebook has a flimsy privacy rules or whatever, but there's other subscription services that might not have a very strong privacy policy. And what's happening is that all of our data is being used against us, right? And now, if I say the word against us, that makes it
Explain
seem
that.
like people are plotting against you, right? And I don't necessarily think that's the primary intention. But once again, for the capitalism, it's about making money, right? So you are able to find every Google search you've ever done.
From
Google.
From the beginning.
And it actually depends on if you've signed into Google and left it signed in on your computer, right? So Google has a storage of everything that you have. So you see how you sign into your Gmail and just leave it open? And it's like everywhere you go, you see, hey, you're signed into Gmail still, right? Every search you do into there, you can actually request that information and sift through it yourself.
Is it true that all of our conversations are being recorded as well?
I don't know about that
Because
one.
because the reason why I asked that question is because just like you said, if we sign in on Google,
Yeah.
But what if you use the Google like speaker? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, well those particular situations, the one that I am 100% for sure on is Alexa, for instance, the Amazon Alexa, right? They actually have said that they do store a minute's worth of recording, right? But then I did read a couple of articles that mentioned that there might be a bigger repository of some of those samples.
It's like Snowden all over
Yeah,
again, yo.
yeah, but the thing that's really a huge pit for this, once again, is one. Let's just go back to the fact that our information is out there, right? Anything we search, people can actually from some of these random sites that we find interest in. There are places around the world that are able to attain that daily usage of your, whatever is on your IP address for your computer and track your life. See what's going on, see how you behave on a day-to-day basis, and essentially they can develop, or even big companies like Google, Facebook, or anything, they can develop algorithms to get these particular ads out there that are specifically geared towards you. Why is it a pitfall? Because anything I search, that means I have interest in it, right? So then anything you give me, I'm going to be interested in it, continuously giving me a loop of interest, right? Oh my gosh, I'm so interested in this particular item that I keep seeing over and over again, thus leading me to buy something, right? And then it's just another thing that keeps happening because we don't just buy one thing and be satisfied. Right now we want to buy multiple things and be satisfied, right? And it's like even with us being swayed on stuff with the politics, unfortunately, I don't know if you heard about the instance of, them thinking Russia meddled in our elections, right? Well, guess what? Our social media might have had to play a huge role in that particular aspect, right? The fact that a whole bunch of Russian individuals who had this mission to sway our election made Facebook profiles and Twitter profiles and put on a whole bunch of posts to gain controversy and thus
Sway the public
swaying
opinion.
a public opinion. Through that, once again, people are on this thing. Like, even if it's like, let's say it was 10 people who contributed to the election, right? And at least 7 of us just kept seeing, or even 5 of us kept seeing posts on Facebook about, Trump is the best, boom, boom, boom. Then it's like, hey, if I'm not stopping and thinking and doing my own research, then I might just be okay with what I see eventually, right? Eventually. All of this is eventually. Because the thing about ads is the fact that people don't just give you an ad for you to see it one time and expect a purchase. Companies want to give you years of ads. years of advertising, months of advertising, so that one day, just one day, you might just feel the need to purchase that product or subscribe to that website or do something to help them in their efforts of growing their customers.
So what can we do as consumers, because the majority of the population are consumers, what can we do to fight this need or this urge from these platforms that try to sway our public opinion?
So this is where it comes on to having the common sense, right? We can't just look at one thing and just say I'm satisfied with that anymore, right? So one of the comments I made earlier is that, you know, I can't just be Googling stuff and be an expert after that, right? And there's nothing wrong with using Google to research. But one of the things that I want to recommend to people is that we need to read more, not just one article, not just one ebook, or not just one thing. We need to have a whole system of information towards a topic so that we can
diversify our search.
Yes, and diversify the authors so that we can see who is BS. Could I say that on this thing?
Yeah,
here?
you can.
Okay, yeah. Who is giving us the truth versus who is telling us the wrong thing, right? Because unfortunately, there's a lot of fake news, and that fake news would lead us to how
to Romeoville. Where Phil
to
is.
Romeoville, or to buy a wrong product that is not. The fake information would lead us to getting something that we don't actually need or intend to get, or it would lead us to not understanding a lot about politics, or it would lead us to not understanding a whole lot about our school or relationships or our health, for instance. Because even people who want to Google, hey, I have this mark on my skin, what is this, right? Looking at the first thing doesn't give you the big picture, right?
You got to go a little bit deeper.
You have to go a bit deeper.
Yeah. And so as we begin to close the show out, we definitely want to end with a conscious tip, just letting everyone know what to do going forward to keep from being dumbed down by technology. Go the extra step, go the extra mile, do the additional research, diversify your news feed or whoever you follow or whatever you consider to be trending in terms of politics. Because if you allow yourself to be swayed by what's really going on, what you receive firsthand, it may not be the truth. It may be fake news. So definitely go the extra mile in terms of doing your own research, diving in a little bit deeper, because it's important. It's important. It's the public opinion in most cases is not always right. We have a lot of fake news out there, so you definitely want to go the extra mile.
Don't trust Wikipedia. It's people who just want to put right information. Not everybody is honest all the time. Hey, but here's one quote that I found, right?
We got 1 minute. We got 1 minute.
1 minute? 30 seconds. If you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. We'll talk about that.
Did you hear that?
I don't agree with that. And I hate that you dropped that at the last minute, but we got to go.
Right.
So as always, continue to tune into The Real Phil Show each and every single Monday at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You see, we have fun on RIP Radio. We bring in the politics and the social awareness that you need to hear about.
Read books, guys.
Read books. Dope. Peace, y'all.
All right, go.
We'll see y'all next time, next Monday, same time.
This is Eclectic Productions.